the 2016 to 2021 Lexus LX 570. Well, it is a flagship SUV from the Lexus brand, and this is a pretty legendary vehicle. It is a champion off-road. That's one of the key things to note about this, and it is also a body-on-frame SUV. It's supposed to be a rugged, luxurious cruiser, similar to the whole Range Rover concept. However, this actually works. That's one of the main differences, and because it works, it has phenomenal resale value. So that's what the Lexus LX is all about. Now, let's go into some of these specs, and I'm actually going to be referencing back to the previous generation LX 570 as well, because the 2016 and up models, it's still roughly based upon that previous generation. So if you want to learn a lot of the interesting nuances of the LX family and of the 570 generation, then I actually do have to go back and reference that older model, but don't worry, I'm going to tie it all together so it all makes sense. All right, now let's get into the specs. One of the reasons why this car is special is because this is the last V8 powered Lexus LX. The new LX 600 utilizes a twin turbocharged V6 engine, and I'm going to leave my full 1-hour review of the LX 600 in the description box and the pinned comment of this video. The LX 570 utilizes a 5.7 liter V8 engine producing 383 horsepower and 403 pounds-feet of torque. Now that torque comes in at 3,600 RPM, and that number is interesting, and I'm going to discuss why in a little bit. The max redline for this engine is 6,000 RPM. One of the major changes for the 2016 and up models of the LX is the fact that it now utilizes a 8-speed automatic transmission as opposed to the 6-speed automatic found in the previous generation. Now, has that 8-speed transmission made a difference? Kind of. The previous LX 570 from 08 to 2015 got a fuel economy score of 12 in the city and 18 out on the highway. Well, this new one, 2016 and up, now gets 13 in the city and 18 on the highway. So 1 mpg better in the city, and the 0 to 60 times and the quarter mile times have improved. The previous generation did 0 to 60 in 7.4 seconds with that 6-speed automatic. And now this new 2016 and up model does 0 to 60 in 7.3 seconds. And it does the quarter mile in 15.5 seconds, or 0.3 seconds quicker than before. Top speed is 137 miles an hour. The coefficient of drag is 0.35, which is exactly the same as the previous generation LX 570. We have double wishbone, independent suspension in the front, and a 4-link coil lateral rod type suspension in the rear. The 2016 to 2021 LX has an overall length of 199.4 inches long total, as opposed to the previous generation, which was about 3 inches shorter at 196.5. Wheelbase remains the same at 112.2 inches, which Lexus still continues even for the LX 600, and the reason why is because somehow that is the perfect wheelbase size for off-road capabilities, etc. with this particular structure. The curb weight of the 2016 and up model has gone up by 5 pounds. It is now exactly 6,000 pounds, which is interesting because I believe for many people to get some type of tax credit or deduction, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not completely sure about these things, but I believe like you have to purchase a car that weighs like 6,000 pounds or more to get some type of tax deduction. So I guess it was foolish for the previous generation to weigh 5 pounds less. Who knows, maybe the weight came from the front grille of the new one, I don't know. But anyway, on the Lexus Press Media spec sheet, it says that it weighs exactly 6,000 pounds on the curb weight. All right, so now that you have a good idea about what the LX is all about and what some of the basic specs are, let's go into more details. So in 2016, the LX 570 was fully refreshed. Obviously, it now adopts the spindle grille design, new LED headlights and taillights. You also got a optional 21-inch 10-spoke wheel. As standard, you would get a 20-inch 10-spoke wheel. You also got more safety features like the blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert. That is standard, and those are new safety features that the previous generation did not come with. And as I already mentioned, it does utilize a new 8-speed automatic transmission. We also have new technology with a 12.3-inch screen and remote touch interface. Other standard features include a panoramic view monitor and climate concierge. So you can just set the temperature and the car will automatically fine-tune the air conditioning, the heat, heated and cooled seats, heated steering wheel, whatever. It'll just automatically turn on whatever it needs to compensate for that temperature that you set, which is a great feature. I do like it a lot. The panoramic view monitor really helps out with backing the vehicle up, and it can even help with towing as well, hooking up a trailer, etc. And you also had an available heads-up display as well, and you also had a wireless charging pad, which was available with the 2016 and up LX570s. I wasn't even sure of how many smartphones were able to utilize that wireless charging pad feature back in 2016 when this was first introduced. All right, so those were some of the features. Now this is where I'm going to start referencing back to that 08 to 2015 generation, because here is the first fact. Compared to that previous gen, Lexus left barely any surface of the LX570 untouched. Only the door panels are carried over from the 2015 model year. So the exterior has been heavily revised, as you can tell. It is interesting how they are utilizing these same door panels from before, but it is still the same body on frame, ultra capable, luxurious, great SUV that it always was, but it's now a little bit more modern looking from the exterior. But I want to move on to that 5.7 liter V8 engine. So as I already mentioned, it produces 383 horsepower and 403 pounds-feet of torque, which is the exact same as the previous generation. However, for the 2016 and up, Lexus quotes that it delivers 90% of its peak torque at 3,600 RPM. However, the previous generation, again, according to Lexus, said that 90% of the peak torque was available at just 2,200 RPM. So in fact, that's kind of a step backwards. The 08 to 2015 was able to deliver 90% of its peak torque at a lower RPMs. I mean, 2,200 RPMs, I mean, that's like what most turbocharged vehicles are able to produce their torque at. So either that's a typo, or either that's a mistake, or if that is actually true, then it's weird how they kind of went backwards in that regards, and the fact that the torque is actually available higher in the newer models than it was before. The benefit of having the torque coming in at a lower RPM is it makes the vehicle feel a little bit more effortless. You don't have to be foot to the floor all the time. But who knows, maybe because they're implementing a new 8-speed automatic, they had to change that torque curve for whatever reason. So maybe that's got something to do with it. I just thought that was interesting and just wanted to bring that to your attention. Another way that the new 2016 and up models went backwards is with the tow rating. The newer LX has a tow rating of 7,000 pounds, which isn't bad, but the previous generation was able to tow up to 8,500 pounds. I don't know, maybe that's also got something to do with the transmission. I'm not entirely sure, but these are just some interesting facts that I noticed with the previous gen and the 2016s and up. Yeah, those are the first two changes that I wanted to bring to your attention according to Lexus. Now, here is a interesting safety fact regarding the crash structure. So for the 08 to 2015 models, the front of the LX570 frame integrates a 3-stage crash structure to help reduce frame damage to other areas of the vehicle in a frontal impact. This is a patented design, and it can disperse collision force from the main side members to the floor frame members, helping to minimize deformation of the passenger compartment. Now, yes, that is with the previous generation model. However, the new 2016s and up still utilize the essential same structure. So I'm sure the same applies for the newer LX570s as well. And I think that is a great design in the fact that it's going to help reduce the frame damage, which means that your vehicle will be more valuable after you fix it if you ever decide to sell it, and there's less risk of it being under a frame damage. Plus, it protects the people inside the vehicle, and this is a patented design. Another interesting fact about these LX models is the fact that they utilize something called AHC, which is the active height control. And that system allows the vehicle to raise and lower itself. However, it's not an air suspension unit. It's actually a electro-hydraulic unit. So it utilizes hydraulics to raise and lower itself. Like when you're on the highway, the vehicle will automatically lower itself by approximately 1 inch for better aerodynamics. And that was something with the previous 08 to 2015 model. And the same AHC system is carried over for the 2016s and up. And we also have something called AVS, adaptive variable suspension. That was also something that the previous 08 to 2015 LX 570 had, that the 2016s and up also utilize. Now, the fourth fact comes with the wheels. The base LX 570s came with a 20-inch wheel. That came with 285 wide tires. However, if you option your LX 570 with 21-inch wheels, you actually got 275 wide tires. So slightly skinnier tires with the larger rim. Now, the next fact that I wanted to address is with the drive mode select. Now, this is another change for the newer 2016 and up LX 570s. You now have different drive modes. That ranges from Eco to Comfort to Sport S. And these modes also change the way the adaptive variable suspension also reacts. So it's going to continually adjust the shock absorber depending on what mode you select. And this is something that the previous generation LX did not come with. Now, the final fact that I want to address is with the four-wheel drive system. This is a full-time four-wheel drive system that the LX utilizes. It's a serious off-roader, and it takes advantage of a Torsen limited slip locking center differential. The torque is split 40-60 under normal driving conditions, meaning 40% of the power in the front, 60% goes to the rear, and the differential responds on the move to changing conditions. It can automatically adjust the torque distribution as necessary. During off-road driving situations, the driver can lock the center differential for driving over challenging surface conditions. So this is a full-time four-wheel drive, and that's part of the reason why it doesn't get amazing fuel economy, but that's just the nature of the beast. These are some tough, solid, well-built machines that you can depend on. It can go pretty much anywhere without braking, and that's one of the major differences between this and a Range Rover. They look unique and it looks expensive when you see them in person. I mean, I saw a white pearl brand new LX 570 with the 21-inch wheels. It was just stunning to behold. I mean, this thing has some presence. So even though it doesn't have the same prestige level as a Range Rover, I do still love this. And because this is a vehicle that actually works and that you can actually count on, these things have amazing resale value as well. Now, you might be asking, well, what about the other model years of the LX 570, like 2017, 2018, 2019? What did these model years have to add? Well, apparently not much. 2018 saw some changes, and it wasn't really a good one. The only notable revision for 2018 is that the base model comes without the third row seat, and then they made that an optional extra that you had to pay for. So not a great change in 2018. However, 2021, the last model year, saw some changes. They added a Inspiration series model, which blacked out a lot of the chrome trim, and it also gave you 21-inch black wheels as well. So it just looked a lot meaner. And also regarding the infotainment, it now came with Amazon Alexa compatibility. So the 2021 model saw some changes. And sorry, actually 2020 saw a new sport package as well. So that was something that you got. So yeah, once you moved up to the really newer models, one of the last model years of it, that's when you began to see some changes. So 2019's and up. In fact, this model that we're looking at, it's no longer being produced. The LX600 took over. But in the new Lexus market, you can get a 2023 GX460, which captures the essence of the old school LX models. However, make no mistake, the LX 570 is still a superior vehicle to the GX models. But if you have to have a new vehicle, I mean, me personally, I would go for like a fully loaded semi-aniline leather GX 460 if I was purchasing a vehicle, but I do not blame you for wanting to buy an LX 570, especially one of the newer ones, 2019 and up. They are really phenomenal, and once again, superior to the GX. So hopefully you learned something new about the LX 570. If you have any other interesting facts you want to share about this SUV, leave them down in the comment section below, and I'll have the next video on the end screen here, so make sure to check that out, and I will see you there.